everybody. Excuse all the noise in the background. It's summertime, but welcome to the Black Men with Purpose podcast. For those of you joining us for the first time, it's a pleasure to have you with us. This is a safe space where we share our thoughts on a multitude of topics in hopes of helping Black males, young and not so young, overcome obstacles and challenges that can be hindrances to happiness, productivity, and success. We believe through our experiences, successes, and failures, we can have some conversations that might help other Black males in their respective journeys through this thing that we call life. And today, this ain't just another episode. This is a charge. This is a check-in. And this is your reminder to guard the house. Now, I don't just mean your physical space. I mean, that is very important, but I'm talking about your mind, your peace, your relationships, and your purpose. For all of us, summer is here, and here in the DMV, this is our third day of 100+ temperatures. So for us, that means longer days, more freedom, and a lot of times it's some more noise. But what do we do when the heat rises, not just in temperature, but in temptation? When storms start brewing, not just in the skies, but they're brewing in our lives. So as we, the Brothers of Black Men with Purpose podcast, prepare to take our summer break, today we're going to be breaking down how to stay grounded, how to lead with wisdom, and how to protect what matters most when the world outside, sometimes even the world inside, tries to shake your foundation. So pour yourself something cold or light up the grill, but keep your spirit alert. We got some real talk to get into. Let's build, let's protect, and let's guard the house. And so we normally open up with, fellas, how you feel? But I kind of want to change the pace because there's a lot going on that we can fall into the rabbit hole, but we want to keep this positive and inspirational. So I want to open up and ask the brothers, what plans do you have while BMWP, the Black Men with Purpose podcast, is on summer break? And I'm going to start with Brother Dr. Byron.
Summer break. It ain't really no break because, you know, I got stuff to do. So little man got not little no more, but he got a bowling tournament in Green Bay for 9 days in July. I plan on taking 2 trips, going to the Caribbean, and I'm going up to the Northeast, New Hampshire. My mother's last living sibling, my uncle, is 81 years old. So, you know, we always want to get together when people die, right? I want to go see my uncle. You know, like I said, he's the last living sibling on my mother's side. So definitely want to go check him out, check out his family. For the summer, you know, that's part of just staying connected with the family for sure. And that's about it for the summer. You know, before you know it, the summer's only going to be over and, you know, it's going to be back to the hustle and bustle. And then, you know, try to keep a job. You know, I work for one of these government agencies that, you know, the man is trying to get rid of. So, you know, just try to keep a job. But other than that, man, we're good. You know, I'll be looking forward to seeing what y'all going to be doing this summer. So I give it over to Brother Deacon Dr. Rod, see what he got planned for the summer.
Bless you, brother. Yeah, I'm gonna try to stay cool as it's June and it's already hot, you know. So stay hydrated for anyone listening all across the country because it is hot everywhere, it seems like. Yeah, other than that, and, you know, just gonna try to, you know, relax a little bit. I'm always, you know, searching for some place to have some peace and tranquility, you know. So try to shoot down to one of my favorite American cities, San Diego, kick back for a little bit, maybe walk on the outer sand beaches in on Coronado Island, and yeah, just kind of, you know, enjoy the creations that we've been given, be in awe You know, I love being near the ocean. You know, I don't like being in the ocean. I like to sit near it and listen to the water, especially hitting up against the rocks. So and to do that, man, I'm still rehabbing from my Achilles injury. So I'm going to try to ease back into seeing if I can swing a golf club without any pain. And yeah, and you know, spend some time with family, just getting reconnected, reminding people to try and stay steady in the midst of all the chaos that might be going on around them. You know, I just, you know, firm believer that, you know, a lot of things serve to distract us. You know, and I just want to encourage everyone to not be moved off of the priorities and the purpose that you know God's placed you here for. And if you set goals, stay focused on those goals. That's my thing, you know, to be focused on goals. You know, I'm rereading Atomic Habits because I really want to lock into how to, you know, build those habits through consistency. Maybe that one little thing you do every single day until it becomes part of your being. And so I'm going to take another run at trying to do that on some things that I've been praying about and wanting for my life. So yeah, that's what I want to do, man. You know, because I think that helps to keep me centered in the midst of the chaos. And it's always some chaos going on. And, you know, so I intend to do that. And I look forward to just exhaling a little bit and coming back when we reconvene, fresh and ready to get after it again. So with that, you know, I'll pass it to Brother Ray.
I appreciate you, bro. Well, what I'm going to end up doing, I'm planning on taking some road trips, just to go, you know, reconnect with some family, connect with some new family. I've been traveling quite a bit anyway. Past month and a half, 2 months has been pretty busy. Went to California, the Redlands, California, to visit my cousin Gloria, who turned 80 in May. You know, so like you said, don't want to always show up someplace when somebody passes away. So we went out to celebrate a good occasion because she's had her own health challenges, but she's been blessed enough to see 80. And I was happy to be there to help her celebrate that. I also went to Ohio State's graduation. I had two family members graduate, one with a master's degree, one with a bachelor's degree. A friend's daughter also graduated with her bachelor's degree, so I was able to attend that. Unfortunately, I did have to attend a funeral for my godmother, but you know, so I ended up going back to Ohio for that. But it was good to see family while I was there. And then the last thing I did previous to us coming back this week, I actually went to Indiana, Highlands, Indiana, by Gary, for my youngest cousin graduated high school. So we wanted to go up and celebrate her accomplishment. And then her sister also graduated from Michigan State with her bachelor's. So just wanted to celebrate my girls and tell them, you know, how proud of them I am and how much I love them. And then, like I said, I'm just looking forward to spending more time with family. I got to spend roughly 4 weeks with my mom through those travels. And like I said, I'm going to go back to Ohio. I want to go see my daughter before her birthday. It's not until October, but I'm going to go up there and see her sooner than that. And I also want to go see some new family and meet them for the first time. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. Um, I'm also looking forward to, like I make no secret about it. I'm in mental therapy. I'm looking forward to talking to my therapist about a lot of the things that have been going on because life has just been lifing. But through it all, God has been good to me, and I know the tough times don't last. And I know what I'm planning on doing is just letting Him lead. I mean, He has not never let me down yet. I know He's not going to start. So I do want to go some different places and see a few things I may not have seen before, and maybe even go to some other places I haven't been in quite a while just to see how things have changed. But that's about it. And like you, Rod, I'm looking forward to when we do reconvene because you guys give me life. You guys give me life. You give me purpose. This group gives me purpose, and I love being on here with you guys. So I'm going to miss you guys during the summer, but it gives me something to look forward to in the fall. And with that being said, I'll hand it over to John.
And the noise is back. Hey, listen, I love hearing all of that. We're gonna keep it. I'm not gonna even say simple. So, my niece is in AAU, and we do a little bit of traveling to kind of check out her games. We checked her out in Florida. We checked her out in. We were just down in Hampton, Virginia, a couple of weeks ago down there. So there's a couple of other locations, Chicago, Las Vegas. So we're gonna catch one or two of those. Make our annual trip down to South Carolina to see family and to put flowers on Tika's grave because her birthday is in August. And I think I'm gonna try and squeeze a trip in between that. My baby boy, like Dr. Byron said, man, I call him my baby boy, but he a big guy. But yeah, he in summer school, so we'll work around that. But I'm thinking, we'll add a couple of little trips in there, just get around and get to see some people. And I love that Rod talked about Atomic Habits. I picked that book up about 2-3 weeks ago again because I had given away my original copy. So I picked up another copy. And you inspire me. I'm gonna definitely go back through that because there's some things I want to accomplish, and there's some disciplines that I really want to get back into during the summer. So, man, thank you for that. I got a couple of books that I need to, I need to be checking out too. So, we're gonna have a busy itinerary. We ain't gonna be sitting still and being stagnant. Sounds like all of us are gonna be out here getting it and listening to Rod talk. He was ready to get an episode, man. He gave us wise words, quotes, quotables, life advice, all that good stuff. So, man, love it, man. Sounds like it's gonna be an exciting summer for all of us. And Ray talking about he gonna miss us, but this Negro is always texting us with some foolishness. So we're gonna be hearing from him, man. He stay sending me stuff. I be cracking up. I'll be like, should I look at this from Ray while I'm at work and I can't laugh out loud? So yeah, but as we come in, we're talking about Garden House. Things change, but we've got to make sure that we keep ourselves in line and protected, not only through the summer, but even through the storms. And, to open up, man, we want to talk about how the seasons always change. Every season has a rhythm. In spring, there's growth, but in summer, it's preservation. And as hot as it is, man, we got to preserve our coolness. We got to stay hydrated, like Rod says. So we got to preserve our liquidity. But, just thinking about this topic, man, I was excited that we got to talk about this as we're closing out for our summer break. And if we haven't kind of forecasted it a little bit, this is going to be our last episode before we take a nice little break into the summer and then come back. Depends on how we feeling, either late August or early September. We'll come back and, we'll catch up with where the world is, and we'll come back with our brand of inspiration and stories of our experiences that we want to share to enrich the lives of other people. But when we talk about the seasons always changing, I want to start off by acknowledging the heaviness of the times that we're living in right now. We we get, man. There's economic pressure. And, I think all of us are extremely blessed, and not blessed in as we haven't done what we need to do to take care of our home and to put ourselves in these positions. But we're blessed because through all of it, we've been preserved. God has been good to all of us. But I do recognize that there's economic pressures. There's things on our minds. There's violence. There's instability, cultural shifts, all of that going on. And to quote the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. And so we understand that these seasons are changing, but I want to talk to the brothers, man. How are you navigating these seasons changing, but not with despair? But how are you handling the changes of the season with strength and with optimism and with a belief going forward? And I want to start with Brother Ray, because we know that you've been navigating some exceptionally difficult situations with a lot of encouragement and joy, which has been inspirational to me. So I'll let you start off with how you've been navigating these changes of seasons that life brings to us.
Well, bruh, honestly, I've leaned a lot on my faith. Because like I said, God has never let me down. Never in my life, He has never let me down, and I know He's not going to start. So I lean heavily on that, and I'm choosing to walk by faith. Um, I'm also taking everything for what it is, for everything that has happened, for the information that I found out. Even though I may not have liked it, even though it hurt, even though I've seen family members hurt, um, we have to take it for what it is, because no matter what, it's here. So how do you deal with it? Do you crumble or do you move forward? And my thing is to move forward, because again, there's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do. I've fallen short a few times because I feel like I should be able to, as the patriarch of my family. I'm literally the oldest butler male in my family. I feel like I should be able to protect my family. I should be able to, solve the problems or take away their hurt, and I know that I can't. And that's been very difficult to deal with, because I feel like I should be able to, but I also have to remember I'm human, and there's only so much I can do. And then in this case, there is absolutely nothing I can do except for provide encouragement, and then, like I said, and move forward and accept it for what it is, because no matter what, there's nothing I can do to change it. So anybody who's going through anything, I would say just move forward, because again, the things you can change, you will. The things you can't change, you can't, and you just have to accept it for what it is and move forward, and understand that it is going to get better. It may not be the best of situations. um if nothing else, you can learn how to cope with what you're dealing with, versus just hurting from it. Again, it's like when somebody dies, you just don't get over it. You learn how to cope with it better, and that's part of what my counseling sessions are for, is to help me cope, to give me those extra tools in my toolbox to help me become a better man, a better human being. And if you're not in counseling, I would highly encourage you to get into some, because again, it's going to give you the tools that you need to be able to cope with whatever situations you're going through. So I don't want to get on a ramble. I don't want to take away from anybody else. So I'll toss it to Brother Rod, because he always seems to have some good stuff for us.
Always.
Thanks, brother. uh, so I would say, I'm trying to approach with intentionality. As Brother John said, spring being, season of growth and summer preservation. I look to the fall as my opportunity to get re-engaged. And then I look at the winter as my time to sustain, or to sustain, I should say. Just from the perspective that, as I think we were talking before the show, things are going to continue to happen. That's the fact of life, And I don't know. I know we had talked about it before about Carol Lawson's 2-minute speech to her team at Duke University, women's basketball coach there. As she was talking after practice to, I don't know whether it was freshmen, it ended up being the whole team, about, getting to a place where you do hard better. Because hard's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to come to us in some shape, form, or fashion, but, as we believe, not more will be placed on us than we can handle. We have to figure out how to handle it, and so doing hard better. If you haven't had a chance, I highly recommend looking up the clip and listening to her talk to her team of young ladies, from 18 to 22 about doing hard better as opposed to waiting for life to get easier, waiting for things to get easier, because they're not gonna, but if you can clothe yourself with the tools and the ability to get through the hard things in life, you become better equipped to do it when the next hard thing comes, and that's how we need to, be sharing that with the people that we love and care for, with our kids, grandkids, family members that are going through things, especially if they're people of faith, to let them know, yeah, we're here. We're here for it, and we'd rather be here than the alternative. So if that is the case, then we have to figure out, how to get it done. Support groups, friends, people that will encourage you, people that will hold your hand and walk with you through it. Whatever it takes to get through it, figure it out. We talk about counseling all the time, and it's important to do that, because it's not going to let up. People are not going to let up, and for me, and I will pass it on after this. Recently, I heard someone talk about one of the challenges that we face as human beings is that we deal with the natural, what we can see, how that makes us feel. But what we really wrestle against in this world are the supernatural, the spiritual things that we can't see necessarily. And, being a believer, we recognize that. And so for me, it's about, okay, God, then help me be able to fight at that level, as opposed to those things that I see or go on around me, or the people that are bringing me this strife and this grief. Recognize it for what it is and look beyond that to the spiritual or supernatural things that might be driving them to be used as a weapon against me at that moment. So for me, it is just be intentional, recognize things for what they are. And if I believe, like I say, I believe, and I read and study and, say I'm a person of faith, then be a person of faith. So So that's my message to everyone, as you go through things. And you know what? Don't suffer anything in silence. That's my message to everyone. Suffer nothing in silence. Even if you got to scream and people don't know why you're screaming, they're going to come running. And then you just let them know, I need someone to understand that I'm going through. That's all. That's all. So check on me, even if it's just, hey, how you doing? Check on me. And so as you get through those seasons, after this summer, I'm going to re-engage. Then I'm going to try to sustain through the winter, hit my growth spurt in the spring. So with that, I'll pass it on to Brother Byron.
Thank you, sir. As you were talking about some of the challenges we face in life, I was thinking about how sometimes we hold on to stuff that we were never designed to be part of anyway. Max Lucado has this book called Releasing the Burdens That You Were Never Meant to Carry. And a lot of times in our faith walk, we end up trying to help other people, or we're trying to fix stuff, or we see things in other people, we're trying to fix that, or some circumstance happens in life and we're trying to navigate through that process and not really saying, you know what, God, you got this. I'm gonna just be present in the moment and watch you be great. And so a lot of times we want to be great and we end up suffering needlessly because we're trying to be great. We're trying to be the patriarch or the matriarch of the family. We're trying to hold it down for everybody. But sometimes God will allow things to happen to us. And I used to tell people when I worked in the rehab hospital, some people like, I don't understand why I had to go through this stroke, why I had to go through this brain injury, why I was in this car accident. And I would tell them sometimes God got to slow you down in order for the blessings to catch up to you. And a lot of times we are trying to outdo the blessings that God wants to do for us. So sometimes, as seasons change, we have to understand that if we are still alive because this change in season, it just means that God is trying to show us something. And so we just got to be patient and sit still and watch him be great in our circumstance. And so I think, as you get older, you understand that more. But when you're young, you're a go-getter, you're trying to get everything done, you're trying to set your goals. And sometimes in that process, we end up taking on things that we wasn't supposed to take on in the first place. And then now we got to detach ourselves. We got to get our mind right again because we wasn't supposed to own that anyway. So I see as the seasons change, let's not own stuff that wasn't assigned to us. Because if we don't own that stuff, we walk away from it, releasing that stuff. And don't let other people put stuff on you too. That's the other thing. That's similar to what you were saying, Rob. You got family, you got friends. Don't let other people put stuff on you too. I mean, you help them to the best of your ability. Then after that, say, hey, you got to have your own faith walk, or you got to have your own opportunity with whoever you believe in or what your faith is to get you through that process. But yeah, that's the thing, changing season. I'm not going to let nobody give me something that don't belong to me.
Man, y'all brothers came with it. Like, I don't know which one I want to pick as the negative take, so I'm just gonna take all of them, man. Come on now. And then Dr. Byron closed it like a true preacher. That for tonight, the seasons always change. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, man, as we transition out of seasons always changing, man, let's talk about checking on your strong friends. But I want to encourage all of us to check on the strong friend that most of us forget to check on, and that is ourselves. We got to start with ourselves, We've got to give ourselves permission, and that's difficult for men of our generation to rest without guilt. Like every time I'm sitting down somewhere, I feel like I'm missing something, whether it's work, whether it's personal, and to check in with ourselves and kind of you know, to piggyback on what Ray said, you know, mental health, that's legacy work. You know, we're setting a legacy when we're willing to check in with our own mental health, and we're passing that down to the people that love us, to our children, you know, to our families, that, hey, being mentally healthy as well as spiritually healthy and all the others are important. And we've got to model that, you know. And so, you know, we talked about the resources, therapy and affirmations, unplugging, doing like Bishop said, you know, we ain't carrying what ain't ours, you know, and we can say that and laugh about it, but the truth is we know that all of us have carried stuff that wasn't ours, and we carried it as if our lives depended on it, and it wasn't even ours, but yet we carried it like that. So, you know, I want to ask y'all brothers a good question, man. What does peace look like in y'all's house right now? Let's start with Brother Rod.
Wow, peace, man. Quite honestly, man, peace looks like perspective to me right now. And I say that in saying that, you know, I have my own idea of what peace is to me. I know what it feels like. And I know how it makes me feel. But I also know that in my quest for it, the one thing that I sometimes forget that I need to consider along with the pursuit of that as a destination is the journey that it takes to get there. You know, and that journey is paved with placing a lot of things in its proper perspective. That is what ultimately will lead me to that place of peace and tranquility. And I would tell you, there's not a day that God blesses me to open my eyes that I don't recognize that I am always in pursuit of that thing, because I love how I feel once I'm there. You know, whether it's a state for 5 minutes out of a day, or I'm just kicked back, reading a book, listening to a book, you know, writing some words for my own book, whatever it is, you know, it's peaceful, and I recognize it for what it is, but I know that I never get to that place without placing things in perspective, which led me back to, I need to get back into Atomic Habits and start practicing that, along with the fact that, you know, I recently finished a mindfulness class, which I will tell you was everything at the moment. And so, you know, when we talk about, you know, finding resources and tools to help you through, that was one of those things. And it really did help me. And what it provided was a great deal of perspective, which then ultimately, you know, led to a little more peace than I was having. But so I would just say, you know, peace in my house looks like, you know, the consistent, if not constant, pursuit of stealing away those moments when I can talk to God, get in the Word, and try to understand, you know, what message He's wanting me to get out of it at that moment. And not just get the word, but then be able to apply it by doing, through action. So, so that's you know, and quite honestly, brothers, that's what I think that's what helps me stay in sort of a center place, amongst all the chaos going on around us. So that's what it looks like for me. That's how I kind of walk in it along this journey, and I try to always do it with intentionality. So, Brother Ray, look like you got something on your mind, brother.
Actually, Rod, you stole half of what I wanted to say, but it's a good thing. That means my mind is in the right place. But peace to me, what I'll say for now is setting and accomplishing goals. My goal has always been, again, to become a better man, become a better human being, to be better today than I was yesterday, to be better tomorrow than I was today. So then I start asking myself at the end of the day, did I get better? Did I accomplish what I wanted to accomplish today? And if I didn't, it's okay. As long as I gave it my best effort. One of the things for me that I've been trying to do through everything, and even before going through this little trial that I'm going through, I had set a goal to lose weight again, because I had a couple of years ago I had gotten down to 263, and had an injury, and then I ballooned right back up to 290, and I basically been holding steady right around 280, 285. One of my biggest stress relievers has always been exercise. I can't run anymore because of the pain, but I can walk. So that's what I've been doing. I haven't missed a day of walking or some sort of exercise in, it's like 1,300 days. I have done something to make sure that for my well-being, because I just don't feel right if I don't get out and do it. Today I jumped in the pool. I'm like, it's hot. I don't feel like walking in this heat. I'm gonna go get in the pool and I'm gonna run in place for a while. And I did that for 45 minutes. And I felt good about myself when I got out of the pool. But I got on the scale yesterday. I got on the scale this morning, and I'm down to 267. And I'm like, okay, my goal was to get back to 260. So I'll reassess once I get there. I'm 7 pounds away from my goal weight. I'm 7 pounds away, and I know I'm going to get there in the next few weeks, but did I get better? So the peace for me is doing my best to get better, to become a better man, like I said, today than I was yesterday, to be a better man tomorrow than I was today. So that's what peace looks like for me right now. With that, Byron, how's it look for you, bruh?
I think for me, part of it is peace is trying to be smarter about decisions that we make. And not so much that you're intelligent or anything like that. It's just some of the things that you may have decided that you would take on as a project, like, no, I'm not going to do that. My peace matters more, And so you just got to know what your level of peace is and say what you are or what you're not going to do. Things that people maybe 10 years ago would tap you on the shoulder and say, can you help me do X, Y, and Z? No, I can't do that. Not this time, and, it's like, hey, guess what? They got to learn how to figure things out sometimes. And so that's how I feel is that, in order to keep your peace, and not that you antisocial, not that you don't love people, but sometimes people will pull you into stuff. Again, it's their stuff, but you've always been the person to go to. And you're like, nah, I'm not doing that this year. And so you got to find a way. You go through, money. You've been spending, you give money to other people, and you don't do things for yourself. Even if you don't want to go nowhere, it's your money. Why you need to give it away, right? So, and then the other part you talk about, John, would you talk about having strong friends? I have me and one of my cousins, we've made this pact. Like whenever the other person crossed their mind, just text and say, hey, how you doing? It don't matter what time of the day or the night it is. And I think for us, part of peace is having accountability partner, having somebody that, you know, if nothing else, they just check on you. Hey, how you doing? And you text back, how you doing? Y'all have a conversation, boom. And it may not be every day, may not be every month, but you have somebody that will check on you. And, you know, again, it just brought back, because yesterday my cousin did the same thing. Hey, just checking on you. How you doing? And so I think you just need one. Everybody, you need at least one accountability person for your well-being, for your psyche, for your emotional, for spiritual. You got to have at least one person that you know, that you can connect with and actually check on you. So for me, being in peace is just, you know, like I said earlier, not taking on somebody else's stuff, but also helping, being accountable to somebody else. So that's how I feel about it, John. It's up to you now, bruh, man.
You know what? I mean, I think it would really be, because if I was gonna say what brings me peace, it is pretty much a culmination of everything all three of you said. Like, I just totally agree. Some time to get away, check-ins, not carrying stuff that don't belong to me. You know, having my peace and my time to connect with, you know, my creator and my community and things like that. So like, I just really think that when it comes to what peace looks like in your house, and y'all brothers really covered all the bases, man. And I think sometimes it's just a good idea not to try to add where there ain't no room to add nothing. And it's all been said. And y'all broke it down. So, you know, we got to make sure that we're checking on ourselves as the strong friends. But don't forget to check on your strong friends too. You know what I'm saying? So like, we all think that brother Byron laughing all the time, but you know, sometimes we need to check on him, man, because I saw him and Victor, you know, the other day. I saw him on LinkedIn. They flying first class, and you know what I'm saying? You got to check on them brothers that fly first class and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you wonder how I know? Because I know that if it's first class, you got 2 seats, 2 big old seats. So I got eyes, I can see. But, you know, not only recognizing that the seasons change and that we have to check on our strong friends, which is really pointing to checking in with ourselves, but we've got to build the fort physically, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. So I'm gonna ask the brothers, man, to kind of talk about that building the fort. I'm gonna ask Ray to talk about building the fort physically, since he just gave us that praise report about how, you know, at 1,300 days, that's 4 years, man. You know what I'm saying? So like that's not lost on me, you know. And I'm gonna ask Brother Rod to kind of talk to us about the building the fort financially, you know, giving us some solid stuff to think of it there. And then obviously I'm gonna ask Dr. B to talk to us about building the fort spiritually. So with that, I'm gonna start with Brother Rod this time.
Yeah, building the fort, you know, financially, and of course, you know, I've been talking a lot about this lately, as it seems to always do, but it's because I'm so fascinated with the things that I learn or have a better understanding of, that a lot of it's been, you know, right in front of us for many years. We just, you know, weren't focused on it or pointed towards it. But building the fort financially, the first for me really goes back to the reason that I am revisiting Atomic Habits. Because the first thing to do is we got to cut the bad habits that we've, you know, built throughout the years, you know, financially. One, by feeling like we got to have instant gratification. So that's the first thing. Find a way to fall in love with delayed gratification. Because if and when you do that, you know, you stop making decisions that are not necessarily in your best interest financially and otherwise. And it gives you an opportunity to really reflect on whether that supports where you're trying to go, especially financially. So that's the first thing. We can cut the bad habits and delay gratification. And the second thing is, we got to make sure that we prioritize, what we spend, our resources on that we're blessed with. Certainly if you're a believer and, blessing God with his, since he made it possible for you to have it in the first place. And, then you got to prioritize yourself and your future, and then, you pay your obligations. But you have to be focused on doing that. That's the only way that you're going to build, and recognizing that if you have a way to pay yourself first before you get it in your hands, do that. Just make it a habit. It's almost like signing up for that subscription and forgetting you signed up for it, and it charges you year after year after year, and you don't even recognize it. It's 4 or 5 years before you realize, wow, I've been paying that $100 for that subscription that I don't even use anymore. So doing that, and then I'm a huge proponent of, making sure that you're investing your resources in places that other folks that you are trying to be like are investing in. If your mentors are, making money in real estate, someone's doing it. Just figure out how to do what they're doing, and try to replicate that. You don't have to reinvent any wheels. And, like someone recently told me, money is moving all around us. We just have to find out how to get the portion that we need. God has blessed everyone with talent and ability that gives you the ability to earn. You have to embrace that. You got to embrace that. You got to build upon that. If you don't know, read. You'll figure it out. Just think of all the classes you've taken in your life when you didn't know how to do something, or you didn't know something before you started the class. But by the end, you understood what you needed. Whether it was the benefit of being able to take the test, whether it was the benefit of being able to apply it to do something, make that a priority. And for those that don't necessarily know whether they want to go to college, get a formal degree or formal education, just know that all the housing that we need in this country, all the houses being built, they all need to be taken care of. So if you're an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, HVAC, get you a skill, And then I'll just say that, I was reading the other day where, the owner of an HVAC company making about $400,000 a year. Sturgeons not making $400,000 a year, and saddled with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt that they're still trying to pay back. And you're free and clear from that debt. You've been blessed with a gift or with knowledge to be able to earn, put that to work, And lastly, I'll just say, stop hiding your money under the mattress. Put the money to work for you. I know grandma and talked about, putting the money under the mattress, but in these inflationary times that we live in, you recognize that, our buying potential is being diminished as inflation keeps increasing. So put the money to work. If you go to work, your money should go to work as well, just like you. And if you treat it with that perspective, then you have things constantly working for you. Money is working while you sleep, and that's what, wealthy people do, or people that are comfortable. And just recognize money is not so that we can become bigger consumers. So right now here in America, Black and brown people account for probably over $2 trillion of what's spent in the economy. What if they were actually to put that to work into either saving, investing for themselves, putting it back into their communities, making sure that their kids have appropriate financial education, those things that are going to matter, not in buying, a purse, some shoes, 12 cars, so you can drive one and look at the other 11. I mean, what is that even about? I understand people do it because they can and they can afford it, but just recognize that God blesses us pretty much with what we need. And then he gives us a free will to make decisions about a lot of other things. And we just need to become better decision makers, especially as men. I will say, we need to be better decision makers, provide opportunities for, our families, that's been diminished in the past. So that's what I want to do. And so speaking from a financial perspective, that's what I'm hoping that, we collectively can get back to, supporting one another in ways to do that and to do that better. You know what? We've been knowing each other a long time. I've always known that I've never had as much money as Dr. Byron, but I've been blessed anyway, right? So it's okay. I want that brother to thrive. Right? We should want one another.
Ray's turn now.
We should want one another to thrive, So never look to the left or the right. Just be concerned about, that you can control and that you've been blessed with. So I'm hoping that you can get back to that. I would tell you there's a lot of, education, information out there that can help you along your way. But it goes back to stopping the bad habits, creating new good ones, and being disciplined in your approach. So, Brother Ray, I will kick it over to you.
Boy, you passed it over to Brother Ray, man. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I do not envy you, brothers, having to come after him with that. I'm telling you. Because now you said, Ryan, you said something that I was telling people, like, people get worried, oh, it's a recession, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, money's always there. Money's always moving, man. You got to be mindful of it and pay attention. And it was really evident during COVID when, people couldn't go to work. And all of a sudden, we could send money to people. People could get loans for businesses and they can get checks to, help. Like, money is always out there. You just got to have a mindset where you're willing to get out there. So, yeah, man, look, I'm sorry I had to jump in there, but back to you, Ray, man. Show us how to build our fort physically, brother. We want to be like you 1,300 days straight of motion and stuff. I need that because I've been struggling to put together 2. You got 1,300. So, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything Rod said, man. Once again, spot on. Physically, I can tell you, I know a lot of people. I actually had somebody ask me the other day, do you count your carbs? And I'm like, no, I've never counted any carbs. I don't know if that even works long term. But I can tell you what I did is I talked to a dietitian because again, I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. And if I don't know something, I'm gonna go to somebody that I feel is an expert that should know something that can help me. And I talked to the dietitian, and the one thing that he said was cut out the refined sugars. And that's what I did. Like I said, the beginning of my fitness journey, because that's what it's been. It has been a journey. Um, I kept looking in the mirror, not liking what I saw, and one day I just happened to, I don't know why, I stepped on the scale at home. And after looking at a picture of myself and then looking at myself in the mirror, I stepped on the scale and that so and so said 303. And I had never been over 300 pounds. The heaviest I'd ever been was 290 when my daughter was born. So that was 1995. And I was lifting weights, but I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. And I initially lost 10 pounds and then gained 7 of it right back, even though I started exercising. But when that doctor told me, hey, cut out the refined sugars, um, that's what did it for me. And even now, because I was holding steady 280, 285, and I'm like, okay, I need to get back to square one. Let's cut these sugars out. I cut the sugars out, and like I said, I've lost in the past month and a half, I've lost about 15 pounds. So and I knew I had lost weight because my clothes were literally just falling off of so I'm like, okay. And I got on the scale last week and I got on again today just to see where I was at. And like I said, I lost another 2.5 pounds in the past week. I do have one free day where I can eat anything I want as much as I want. Um, and I got that from I know Rod and Byron and I did the Body for Life program way back in probably around 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. And that was one of the things where it was like, okay, have a free day, a cheat day where you could eat whatever it is you want to eat, and then go back to your regimented schedule. And that's what I've been doing, man. So I just I cut the sugars out of my diet. Um, I would recommend like moving your body. Again, I've been walking for over 4 years straight, or doing some type of exercise, but more or less it has been walking. Um, we've talked about having an accountability partner. Uh, Brother Kevin used to be my accountability partner. I would get out and walk, and he said he wanted to go walking. So next, I know we were walking at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, talking to each other, and encouraging each other while we're out there walking. Just having a good conversation about whatever. I still have accountability partners now. I talk to my daughter. Or depending on the time of day I get out and walk, I may call my mom and talk to her while I'm on my walk. Just to have somebody to talk to while I'm walking, it just breaks up the monotony of the exercise, because after a while you get pounding that pavement. It's just like, no, I don't want to be out here, or I don't want to go out there and get it done. But hey, make a phone call. It's like my daughter called me the other day and said, hey, I'm getting ready to go for a walk. I'm like, okay, I'll join you. And I got out there and I walked with her and talked to her for an hour. Ended up walking 4.5 miles talking to her. If you're going to walk, if you can afford a gym membership, then great, get one. However, if you can't afford a gym membership, walking outside is free. Walking outside is free. You get a change of scenery. Um, I'm walking through my neighborhood. I've seen all kind of things. I've seen whether it's fox running around, or snapping turtles, alligators, whatever the case is. I have seen a little bit of everything. I've seen hawks catching fish out of a lake. Just walking outside is free. If you can't walk, if you can afford a bike, get you a bike. And just ride that for a little while, and get you some good up tempo music to listen to. It's amazing how I'll listen to some old house music, and I'm walking to the beat, and the next thing you know, I've walked a mile in 13 and a half minutes, just because the beat is so high, and I'm walking to that beat. So again, uh, definitely have you some good up tempo music to listen to, and that will help you with getting your move on, moving your body, getting that walk or run or whatever it is. And then the last thing, I knew John had something down here, like drink water like it's spiritual. Man, look, I go through 4 liters of water a day. I go through 4 liters of water a day. So that's 8 half-liter bottles. My wife and I go through probably 4 cases of water every 2 weeks. But it's a good investment in my body. That's how I see it. I mean, I don't. It's very rare that I drink a soda. When I do, it's usually on my free day. My wife wasn't feeling good the other day, so I went to Winn-Dixie and picked up some sodas, and I only bought as many as I did because they were on sale. But I'm like, okay, we do have people that come by that might want a root beer or a Coca-Cola or whatever. So I have sodas here for them, but 9 times out of 10, like I said, with every meal or whatever, I'm drinking water. We go out, I might splurge every now and again and have a milkshake. That's part of my splurging, but I get right back out there and go back to doing what I'm going to do as far as walking or exercising. So, but yeah, having a high water intake is critical because it does help flush your system out and it's good for you. Kidney disease runs in my family, and I'm trying to make sure I'm flushing out as many impurities as I can, because one thing I don't want to do is be like my dad and go through dialysis, or a lot of my other family members that had renal failure. I just don't want to go through that. So I'm making the choice now to drink water and try to take better care of myself, because I do want to be here for as long as the Lord will allow me to be here. But that's the 3 things I would say as far as like eating habits, making sure you get out there and get some exercise. Like I said, it doesn't have to be longer than 30 minutes. I'm out there again. If I'm having a good conversation, I could be out there for an hour and a half, even in the heat. But my body has gotten accustomed to it. And then drink a lot of water, man. That's the 3 things I would say you definitely want to do. And get an accountability partner. If you can get somebody to talk to or walk with you, better yet, that's all the better. So that being said, I'll throw it to Brother Byron.
I'm not gonna get no fancy numbers, no fancy call sign. Oh, there. Okay, I get the sign. Okay, I got you. Yo, this is a good topic though, being that June is Men Health Month, about building a fort, about all, not just the health physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Yeah, and I like it that it's June because it's halfway through the year. So it's like all of a sudden now you got a chance to say, okay, let me reassess, what had happened so far in 2025. What do I need to do moving forward to grow spiritually, emotionally, financially? What do I need to do different? So with that being said, as far as your faith, I just feel like your faith is vital to your success. When you look at spiritually, emotionally, even with your money, Rod talked about your money. I know y'all joke about, people paying tithes to the church and all that stuff, but that's how I was raised. I just believe that if you pay that 10% that God asked you for, he already blessed you with the other 90%. He'll take that other 10% and just do more with it than you can do with that 90. So I'm just a believer in that, and I'm a witness that he's done that over and over again in my life, and I've seen other people as well. People who don't have degrees, people who are just believing in God, making $40,000 a year, but guess what they're doing? They don't have a whole bunch of debt. Their bills are paid because they trust in God. They're using their faith and they're building themselves up spiritually. So one of the quotes that I put in my book I wrote, without faith, the life story that God has written for you cannot be told without your faith. So you gotta play an active part in making sure you are emotionally, spiritually, and financially available to what God's doing in your life. Not having an attitude, and I'm gonna leave it at that. A lot of times when things don't go the way we want it to go, we develop an attitude and we can't hear nothing else that God wants to do in our life because we got an attitude about it. And so the moment you get away from having that attitude, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm straight. So Yeah, definitely without that faith though. And you know, some people say, well, you gotta be Christian, Buddha, you got Islam, whatever. I'd rather work with somebody that has faith in something other than themselves than somebody who believes that they're the ones that's controlling their life. You know, if somebody believes in a higher power, if they believe in something, I can work with them on that. So, but yeah, as far as moving forward for the rest of 2025, yeah, definitely try to find a Bible believing, you know, and take a step at a time. If you don't go to church, just start reading like a devotion every day. There's tons of devotionals out there every day. If you don't do nothing but, hey, here's the scripture of the day, boom, and just process that, and then just move forward from there. But I appreciate you, brothers. I'm sure that 2025 we have been equipped to handle these challenges that we started facing, and we are equipped to be successful because we're more than conquerors. We've been doing it our whole life, so it ain't gonna change now. If nothing else, we just got more ammunition. So,
Dr. B, what book was that you mentioned? Which one was that you referenced?
Releasing the Burdens. Oh no.
How many
The
books
book
you got?
No, just two. That was in The Promise is Still Valid.
Promise is still valid. All
Yep.
right,
Without your faith, the life story that God has prepared for you cannot be written. Without your faith.
Promise is still valid. Look at these brothers breaking it down to the very last compound. Listen, you know, we talked about the seasons changing, checking on our strong friends, which are the strong friend we need to check on most is ourselves. So checking in with ourselves so we can be a value of others, building the fort. Man, and we just got 3 master classes on building your fort physically, financially, and spiritually. And, you know, just last, man, just want to close out. And I want to encourage you to cover your people. One of the biggest lies that we've been told in the United States is the idea of objectivity and the idea of individuality. And for us, especially African descent that are part of the diaspora, we understand the power of unity and the power of the collective and the power of community. And so I want to encourage us, you know, just to cover our people, to be in touch, to find practical ways to be present. You know, we need each other. Don't isolate. Don't be off by yourselves. You know, it's the summertime. You got cookouts. You got, you know, brother said they go in to check out people. I think it was just great. He said, you know, we always talk about how we get together when people pass away, but going to celebrate someone while they're alive. So let's stay in touch with our families, our friends, be connected to our communities, because that's important. And that'll help us to keep cover. That'll help us to stand on guard through the summer and through the storms. And if we haven't said it before, we're going to say it today. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us, man. We love all of y'all. We're going to be gone for a couple of months. But although y'all won't see us on the screen, y'all know that as Black men, we're going to be out here frolicking and having a good time and taking care of our mentals and enjoying our families. And so before we close out, I want to leave us with a quote. And it's from an author unknown, but it's still a powerful quote. It simply says, the bond of a family is to provide a safe haven in a tumultuous world. So let's stick together and continue to be community and family during these tumultuous times. Everybody enjoy everything that you're going to be doing this weekend. It is our desire that we left you with something that will be helpful and advantageous to your life. And in a couple of months, we're going to be back with more game, more wisdom, more experience. So with that, we are out.